Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Averie, and today I will be reviewing and discussing Bring Me Their Hearts by Sara Wolf. I finished this book earlier today, so I thought that I would share my thoughts with you guys. Sorry if this looks a little ratchet. I started to take off this sticker for the autographed copy sticker from Barnes & Noble, and you can see some of the sticker staying to the cover, so it's bugging me, so I just decided to keep it back on. But it's still coming off. But we're just gonna roll with it, okay? Okay. If you did not know what this book is about, this is a fantasy YA novel that I have not heard about at all on BookTube, weirdly enough. I actually looked on YouTube, searched for reviews about this book, and there are only two, and both of them are from people who got advanced reader copies. So I have yet to find or see a review on YouTube from somebody who did not receive an advanced reader copy. Not that an ARC would influence your opinion on it. I just mean like no one's read it since its publication and filmed a review on it for BookTube, or at least I haven't found it yet, or it's not popping up on the page when I search it. So I thought that this would be a great contribution to that, to talk about my thoughts about this book. Let me just say that I really enjoyed this book, and this video will have two separate parts to it. The first being spoiler-free. I will give a summary for it and my overall thoughts on it, not spoiling anything, and then later on in the later half of the video I will be talking about what I loved in great detail. So if you did not know what this book is about, yes, this is a YA fantasy novel. This centers around our main character, Zira. Hello. Hi, it's me. There was one thing that I really wanted to talk about in this review that I just didn't get to, or I forgot about when I was actually filming it, but right before I even read the book, I immediately thought of something that I wanted to put in my review. That is about the name Zira. I don't know how many of you grew up watching The Swan Princess, but I did. And immediately when I saw the name Zira, I immediately thought of this woman from The Swan Princess. Her name is Lady Zira, and that's this woman's name in the book. I just thought that was really funny, and I forgot to talk about it in the review, so I need to share it now. This centers around our main character, Zira, who is a heartless. And basically in this land, heartless people? The Heartless, they are created by a witch from this land because they rip out their hearts and then they put it in a jar, and basically these heartless creatures are kind of like their servants. They go and do tasks for them, they go kill people. Heartless people were at a prime during the Great War that happened in this land, and it is many, many, many years since then, but witches and heartless people though are very much labeled as dangerous, and the humans and other beings really want to eradicate them from basically the whole planet or land that they live on. So our main character, Zira, is a heartless. She was turned into a heartless by a witch called Nightsinger because Nightsinger came upon her and her family while they were being raided and killed. So she decided to take pity onto Zira and save her life, but the only way to save her life was to turn her into a heartless. But this book takes place 3 years since then, so she is essentially 19 in a body of a 16-year-old. All she's ever wanted is her freedom, because turns out you can't go about a couple miles away from your heart in your jar, which is kept in a safe, secured place in Nightsinger, the witch's house. So all Zira's ever wanted for so long is her freedom. So the witch Nightsinger and a bunch of other witches from the land propose a deal to Zira in exchange for her freedom. And this comes at the price of the prince of the land. Zira is tasked to basically go undercover as a future bride, essentially. It's kind of like The Bachelor in a sense. A few girls are set to present themselves to the prince, so Zira is made to go undercover and take his heart so the witch can make him into a heartless to gain the king's favor, or essentially control the king. So this is all about Zira's journey trying to gain her heart and freedom back while also trying to deal with the struggles of living with people now, because being a heartless comes with much hunger. They only eat raw meat, and if they eat anything other than that, they are put in physical pain. They cry, Tears of Blood, yeah, it's not a pretty sight. So she has to deal with the inner workings of the court while also trying to gain the prince's favor, who is very much rumored to basically despise everybody. He's not a very likable person. He doesn't have that genuine quality to him, or so people say. Let me just say, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I think it is like one of 3 books so far this year that I've given 5 stars to. I really enjoyed it. I have not read a really good fantasy novel, YA fantasy novel, in a long while, maybe since like the ACOTAR series, and that first book came out like my sophomore year of high school, I think, and that was what, 4 years ago, and I feel this excitement for this series. It does end on a cliffhanger, just so you know. I'm waiting for the next book. I have not been this excited about a YA fantasy series novel in a long time, so this is why I'm so excited for this. I just want to say I really enjoyed the characters. Zero was probably like, she's one of my favorite female characters now. Her dealing with the fact that she's a heartless, but she also wants to be essentially a good person, even though she's not a person. Oh, it pulled at my heartstrings. I really enjoyed her character and the inner battle of her mind, deciding what's right and what's wrong, and dealing with her hunger, but also her compassion. Like, it's so good. I will say, the prince is not my favorite love interest that I've ever seen in a YA fantasy novel, but I know that he has the potential to for the next books, so that's what I'm hoping for. We get somewhat in-depth, but not entirely in-depth of his story, and so I want to know about that. He kind of gives me a little bit of Dorian vibes from Throne of Glass, which is so good. I love Dorian. And you could see Zira is somewhat like Selena from that series, but again, she has this quality to her that I just really enjoy. Yes, she's witty like Selena, but she's an entirely new person, okay? I could see where people would make similarities or see how they're very much similar in that sense, but she is her own character, and I love her nonetheless. I don't really know if there's anything else to say that won't spoil you guys. So yeah, I'm gonna go into my spoilery thoughts. So if you haven't read the book, go out and read it and come back and watch the rest of this video. Let me just start out by saying for this spoiler part that at the beginning I was very skeptical, because we have that one scene where Zira meets Whisper on the streets, and immediately I knew it was the prince. Like, who didn't know it was the prince? And so then I got it in my head, like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, this is gonna be like a book where, like, she sees the prince, they like fall for each other or whatever, and then at the very end he reveals that he's been Whisper all along. So that, I was a little peeved about that, because I thought that's what was going to happen. But I love what Sara Wolf did right when Zira sees Lucien. She's like, what are you doing here? You're Whisper. Like, she's smart enough and not a stupid person like these other books where they take them so long to remember what a person looks like or sounds like in disguise. Like, people aren't stupid like that. So I enjoyed that. I thought I wasn't going to enjoy this book as much as I did because of that at the beginning, but it surprised me. I really enjoyed it. I also want to say that this slow burn romance got at me a lot. There was, of course, times where I wanted to see them, of course, like kissing, full on making out, you know what I mean? Because you have that sexual tension that really got to me. But I think Sara Wolf did just an amazing job with how the romance played out in this book, because you kind of have this flirtiness that I really enjoyed, but we had Zira and the prince kind of like separate themselves from each other because of what they are or who they are or what's happened to them in the past, and they don't want to hurt each other. And that's, I think, a lot of what couples in real life are like. So I commend her for that. That was amazing. I also want to say how much I loved this like hunger character it wasn't really a character, but it's like Zira's alter ego, kind of, where her hunger, her need for raw flesh is essentially a whole entire different being inside of her. So I consider it its own character. I thought it was so interesting, the relationship between her and her hunger. Like, it was always nagging in the back of her brain, but she still had the restraint to let out the reins, you know what I mean? And pull in the reins when she needed to, even when she got cut with the blade. She was like, I need to do what I need to do, so hunger, you need to shut the F up. You know what I mean? At the end, that end scene where she just let it out of the gates, like let her hunger finally out there, was just like, wow. Like, she can really cause some damage. Like, we already knew that she was a Heartless and she could do horrible things, but I don't think we got the full sense of what kind of things she could do until that scene, which was shocking to me. You could tell after she came back into her own mind what she had done. Even though she was protecting Lucian, she still like knew afterwards, oh, I did something horribly wrong, even though she is essentially a being without a heart, and that someone shouldn't, like, they shouldn't care about anything. They don't have a heart essentially, but she still feels this need to protect this person. Oh, it was so good. And then the end, I don't fully understand 100% the weeping part at the end, or the part that Reginald was talking about with how Heartless can be separate from the witches if they cry. I don't entirely grasp that 100%, so if someone could share that light on me, I would really enjoy that. I was not expecting her to somewhat gain her freedom in a sense because of her weeping. I want to know how she got to that point. Maybe I need to reread that one section, but I was kind of confused on that part. That was like the only part I was confused about this book. And the end, I was not expecting, was it Varia? Maybe that's how you pronounce it, Varia? I was not expecting Varia to show up at all. I was not expecting that just because Fiona and Lucian talk about this whole time about the loss. It was devastating. And for an inkling at the beginning, I thought that maybe like Zira was Varia and doesn't remember it or something like that. That was one of my theories. That was wrong. And I thought maybe it was gonna be like a Clary Chase situation where like they like each other, but it turns out they're like siblings. But that's not what the Mortal Instruments is about, but like that's what the first one is. I know what happens to Jason Clary, okay? I haven't read the books, but I know what happens, so that's not, I was just talking about it in that sense. Let me just say, I really loved Zira and Lady Yshenria. Is that how you pronounce it? Yshenria, I think, maybe? Lady Yshenria. I don't know how to pronounce it, sorry. But I loved their relationship a lot, and how her aunt basically learns through Zira that she can let people into her life again after the terrible things that she has gone through, even though Zira is one of the beings that ruined her life. So I loved that part of the ending where she and Zira finally just had this sense of we are family even though we're not family kind of thing. So that was beautiful. I am very excited for the next book. I don't even know when it's coming out. This just came out, which stinks that we don't get the next one probably for a year or more. So I want more. And I really hope that more people read this because it was so good. I loved it a lot. Anyways, there you have it. That was my review for Bring Me Their Hearts by Sara Wolf. Let me know down in the comments if you agree with anything that I said, or if you have new insight about this book. Please let me know down below. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all soon with a new video. Bye.